This is a tour of my basement arcade. This sign here, I got at York, Pennsylvania pinball show last year. So you can get more signs like that there. Downstairs. This is a T-Rex in VR thing I got off of something like Redbubble or Zazzle or something like that. I'll talk about VR later, but first, here's the arcade. So I just got that Super Off-Road. A guy in Craigslist was selling it for $1,000, and I scooped it up as soon as I could. And it's in great shape. I have the track mode music off right now. Everything works great. Only thing I had to do was replace it had plexiglass that was cracked, and I just replaced it with a piece of glass, and it's awesome now. Up here, this is something called a Run DMD. It's a pinball DMD that, you know, actually obviously functions as a clock, but it'll also randomly display real pinball dot matrix display art. So it'll just keep cycling through. Let's see, so there's a Stern pinball animation. We'll see what else we'll get here. That might be Stargate, I don't know. So I'm a member on pinside.com, and a guy there was making these clocks and selling them. And I talked to him recently, and I think he's not doing it anymore. But I think that's from Champion Pub, that animation. Yeah, that's definitely Champion Pub. Here's a Medieval Madness poster I got to put up. So here's Champion Pub and Medieval Madness. I got both of these last year in 2017. So I posted on Pinside that I was looking for this game, and a guy local, very close, said he had it and he was willing to sell it. And and I got a good deal, and I'm very happy with it. So I went to JMU, James Madison University, and they had this pinball machine at a bar that I would go to regularly, and they had Medieval Madness at another one near JMU. And I mean, I love both of them, so I got Champion Pub first, and then I decided I wanted to get another one, and I ordered Medieval Madness. This is Medieval Madness Remake. So it has a shaker motor, and I also added upgraded speakers. Oh, and I added a color DMD. And there's a Champion Pub poster I got. So this machine is a 4-player emulator machine that plays MAME, and I mean every other emulator you can think of. I got it from a company called Dream Home Arcades, and the way this started was I saw a guy on YouTube who had some homemade machine he made, and at the top he had a marquee that would change along with the game that he was playing, and I thought that was amazing, and that immediately I just said I had to have that. And this company, Dream Home Arcades, had never done this before, but I looked into it and figured out how to do it, and I ordered off of eBay from China a stretched LCD, and that's what's at the top here. It's a screen all by itself, so I don't know if you can tell, but it's its own screen, and then this is a totally separate screen down here. So I ordered it off of China, and then I had it sent to Dream Home Arcades, and they installed it. The first one, the company that sent it was called Vitrolight. The first one wasn't working, so they had to send a second one, but I had to pay extra for that, so it was a little shady. But it's working great now. Yeah, Dream Home Arcades installed it, but they didn't know anything about the software of how to get it running. So once I got this machine sent to me, I figured out how to get it all working, and I got all the marquees, and so I'll switch between some games right now. Like, okay, there's Street Fighter, Street Fighter 2, the original. Some of these, some of them are like the real arcade art, and some of them are just like lower quality. Like, this is just like a logo that's like, if I get up closer, you can see that it's lesser quality than like say this. This is like a real photo of the original marquee. So yeah, that's like a lesser quality one. That's the real marquee for Street Fighter the movie. A terrible game, but it's still fine. So here's like, yeah, Neo Geo marquee, Street Smart. We're just going through my favorites here. Yeah, that's just like a lower quality logo one. Strider, that's the real marquee there. And this is Hyperspin, the front end I'm using. Yeah, I think that's the real marquee for Strike Force. Yeah, that's the real marquee. Let me see, Sunset Riders, yeah, that's the real marquee. So yeah, the software that does this is called Hypermarquee, and I made a video telling how to use it, how to get it set up. There's another piece of software called EDS, Event Dispatch System, that I also talk about that in the video. If you're interested, just ask me about it and I can tell you more. So yeah, the control panel is 4-player. There's a trackball. There's a spinner. This is a 4-way joystick that I pretty much never use because I think this 8-way works fine. And yeah, the art is custom. I told them exactly what I wanted, and I created the layout. So what my idea was, so for example, you play the game Rampage, you're going to be George by default if you're player 1. If you're player 3 over here, by default you're going to be Ralph, and if you're player 2, by default you're going to be Lizzie. So, and that goes along with all of these characters. If you play Gauntlet, you have to be the girl or the Valkyrie. If you play Sunset Riders, you have to be this guy. If you play, Simpsons, these are all the 4-player ones. You have to be Homer. You have to be Michelangelo. You have to be Cyclops. So all these games where if you play 4-player, you're assigned one specific guy. Like over here is Wolverine. I decided I kind of wanted that. Over here I have this elf guy and Lisa, and I think that's Raphael and Storm. So yeah, games that are my favorites that I like, I put them on here. And then that background is just a logo background I found. And on the sides I have logos. Obviously I like logos. Over here I have all consoles, because all of these consoles are emulated in this machine. Like, I first got into emulation in like 1998. Back in college I discovered MAME, and back then the first NES emulator was Nesticle, and I spent way too much time messing with emulators my first year at college, and playing Half-Life and Quake 2. So over here, yeah, I have all like arcade companies, Williams, Atari. Is it Taito or Taito? I'm not sure. So I love Neo Geo. I've always loved Neo Geo. When I was a kid, there was a place near me called Mega Video Games that had a Neo Geo there, and like every Neo Geo game, and you could rent time by the hour and play Neo Geo. And like back then, the best thing you had was a Sega Genesis or maybe a Super Nintendo. I don't even know if they had that back then. And I have the music off. Down here there's a dial. So this thing has a subwoofer and everything. And this is custom too. This is custom too. I asked for these coin doors. They're not working coin doors. They're just for looks. But I have the colors matching, so like yellow and blue, yellow and blue, and then red and green, and then red and green up here. What else? I can pull this control panel up and mess with the internals. I replaced the joysticks just because the joysticks were fine, but sometimes the diagonals were a little hard to get because they're the type of joysticks. The original ones, like you can see what these are. These have the this nylon square that hits the micro switches. The joysticks that came with it had those metal prongs that hit the micro switches, and that's what X arcades have. And in my opinion, those are usually harder to hit on the diagonals. And so that's why I installed these. These are, I think these are Euro sticks, something like that. And I like them a lot. I've also gotten Hap competition sticks before, and I didn't like those as much as these. There's an iPack. Guess that's it. To get to the computer, it's from the back. I'm not going to bother pulling that out. This right here, that's a photo of me. I don't know, maybe I'm 2 or 3, who knows? Playing Vanguard. That's I think it's an S&K game, and I can see Stargate in the picture too. And I have a diaper on, as I should. So yeah, I love that picture. These are, if you've ever played with a Perplexus, that's what these are. I just think they're cool toys. They're little maze toys. I've always liked mazes and stuff like that, and so I just put them there. These are some coasters. These are Pinball coasters, Black Knight 2000, Medieval Madness, Theater of Magic, High Speed. If you're interested in these, these are like high quality, thick coasters. If you're interested, I can tell you where I got them. And these Pac-Man ones were cheaper. I think I might have got them off Amazon, but they're relatively thick. They're pretty good quality. This is a shuffleboard table. Unfortunately, this doesn't get a lot of use. I added these wooden scoring beads. Didn't come with that originally. And down here I have the wax. Yeah, it's actually wax. I used to always think it was sand, but no, it's wax. And oh yeah. So I added this just for fun. So up here is this RGB LED string. Let me change the mode. Pressing the right button? No, there you go. So you can make it pulse. You can make it just keep flashing different colors. There's a mode where it cycles through colors slower, but I don't know why I can't find it. Maybe that's it. There you go. Now it's cycling through the colors instead of blinking like crazy. I saw this on Amazon and it was really cheap. So just wanted it to kind of add some color and some light over here to the shuffleboard table. This is a 12-foot shuffleboard table. Here are the pucks. I don't know. Is that the right word? I don't know. So I think that's it over here. Here's a video game Mount Rushmore. My girlfriend got me off I think off Amazon. Mario, Sonic, Mega Man, Link, Pac-Man. She got these pillows too. We used to have a couch right here, but we had a cat that liked to urinate on it, so we had to get rid of it. So people used to sit on this couch, and over here is my VR area. And I have this TV here, so that this TV is connected by HDMI cable all the way to this PC. So then they could, you know, see what the person's seeing that's in VR, and it would be fun to watch. I might have to get another couch to put here. But anyway, let me go over here. This is a dartboard over here. This is probably the coolest thing to me in this basement, is this HTC Vive. VR, until you try it, it's hard to explain, but it's the coolest thing. It's just so cool. So these headphones, you know, they go on your ears, and they're the lenses. There's no way for me to really show this to you unless you try it. These controllers, you know, are what you use in the games, and you can interact with your hands with everything. These controllers could be guns, they could be swords, they could be bow and arrows, they could be anything. And this over here is a racing seat, so I use this in VR. And I also installed these bass shakers or transducers. These things make the seat vibrate when you're you know, when you're racing. And like if you hit a wall or something hard, they'll vibrate. And this is a amp back here to power them. And these are the Vives. These things emit infrared light and laser beams. And what's happening is, see, these things just have to connect, you know, they just have to get power. And they emit this light. And this headset detects that light, and the controllers detect the light. So that's how it tracks you at all times. See all these little divots and dimples on here? These are sensors. So, you know, wherever your head is moving, it can detect where it's being hit at that point in time. So it's just constantly tracking you. So when you're in the game, all your movements are being tracked perfectly, and it just feels like you're in the actual game. And everywhere you move in this whole space, you can walk around in this entire space, and depending on the game, you can just like do whatever the hell you want until you get to a wall. A lot of people will forget where they are and they'll run into a wall. But a boundary will pop up when you get close to a wall and warn you, but sometimes people are just going too fast, bam, right into the wall. Here's the other one. So you have two of them shooting at you from opposite sides, so that way, you know, you're getting 360-degree tracking. So, you know, no matter which way I'm turning, there's always at least one of them that's detecting me, and my body isn't blocking the light. So at least one of them is seeing it. In this room, I have another one, and I have an Oculus Rift that has been causing me lots of trouble. You can see all these cables on the ground. One of the main differences between Oculus Rift and HTC Vive is that the Oculus Rift sensors have to have a USB cable running all the way to your PC. So I have 3 sensors here, and they're all running cables to this PC. And then there's the Oculus Rift cable. So it's a lot of cables you're dealing with. With HTC Vive over there, you only have the headset's cable, and that's it. Because they're called base stations, the things that emit the light, they just need power. They don't even have to connect to anything else. And this PC over here is a good PC, but for some reason I can't get the Rift to work with it. Because you have so many USB devices. There's USB device here, and then there's 3 other. I had to install a extra PCI Express USB card, and I still can't get it to work right. So I'm talking to Oculus support about it. So I recommend an HTC Vive. I also have a PSVR, upstairs, PlayStation VR. And that's pretty good if, you know, if you don't want to spend a bunch of money on a expensive PC. Because this PC right here, this has a, you know, an NVIDIA 1080 Ti, an i7 8700K, you know, a bunch of SSD drives, 32 gigs of RAM. I mean, you don't have to have a PC that powerful, but it helps a lot. So for PC VR, yeah, you need a good PC. The one in that other room was like a i7 3770K and a NVIDIA 980 Ti. Like, that's not like high end or anything. Those are older specs. So, and that would still work fine for VR. What else? I think that's about it. I live in Northern Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia. If you're anywhere in that area, if you live anywhere around there and you're an arcade, pinball, or VR guy, let me know. Because, you know, it'd be cool to meet people and hang out and stuff. So, let me go, I'll just go over here to the arcade again. Let's see if there are any other cool things to show here. Oh yeah, let me just like play a game and then you can see what that's like. I'll play Turtles. So to start a game, I just press. Okay. Oh yeah, here's another thing. I have all the buttons showing. I have, well, too late. So there's the marquee. Then I have bezel artwork for most games. I have bezel artwork, and then you can see that there's a little simulated CRT bezel within that other bezel. I got a lot of that stuff. I think I got that off of Hyperspin forums or maybe EMU Movies. That might be off of their FTP. I'm gonna exit out of that. Let's see. I'd like to start doing some videos where I play these games. I think I'd probably have to play them in like portrait mode. So like right here, yeah, I have showing the original control panel. There's some art. There's the original. So it's just when people start playing, it's so that they know what the buttons are. I know I could get LED buttons, and maybe the ones that people would need to use would be blinking, but I just haven't. It sounds like a huge pain in the ass, and I haven't wanted to bother. We'll see. So there's Simpsons marquee. There's the game, and then oh look, you get Bart's ass right there. All right. What else? We're going through. These are all my favorites list. I never was very good at Mortal Kombat 3. Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 are more my thing. Oh, there's Vanguard. There's that game I'm playing in that picture. It's not that great, but it was good enough at the time, obviously. 1981. In 1981, I was one year old. But I'm probably older than that picture. Maybe it was 1982 or when I was playing that, who knows. Because I'm 38 now. I was born in 79. What else is here? Oh yeah, that reminds me, Duck Hunt reminds me. I have, see down here there are these USB inputs, and then this is power right here. So I have these, let me turn this audio off. There are these aim track guns. So I have a single player, and then, one player and then a two player. And that's what there's a light bar up here. And those came with this. I messed with those before years ago, before I got this thing, and they're a pain in the ass to set up. And I put a little bit of time into trying to get it to work, and it just was a big pain in the ass. If you know anything about that, if you're good at that, let me know, because I don't know. Like, for example, a game like Area 51, I was trying to get the off-screen reload to work, but it just would not work. I don't know what I was doing right. Was doing wrong. Oh, X-Men. So that's a 2-player version, then there's the 4-player version. Then I would prefer, if I'm going to play the 6-player version, and it's still stuck on Excitebike up here for some reason. See, sometimes some shit like that will happen. But if I hit play, let's see. Let me exit out this game. Alright, so here's all I have to do. If I exit out of this menu, let me see. Okay, well, here's Arcade, Daphne, you know, all sorts of systems in here. But I always prefer Arcade. So now it's back. Sometimes I just have to exit out and go back in. For some reason, some of these marquees get frozen, and I'm not sure why. Children of the Atom, I had this on Saturn. That was an awesome game back then. Yeah, I was a Sega kid. I had a Master System, a Sega Genesis, a Sega 32X, a Sega CD, a Saturn, a Dreamcast, a Game Gear. Then I kind of got out of consoles, and I eventually got a PS3. Now I have a PS4. I have a Wii U, a Switch, I think that's about it. Let's see. Afterburner. Oh yeah, this marquee is a really big marquee, so I cropped it to make it fit into my marquee better, but I think it was a really tall marquee in the arcade. I don't know. If you have any questions, oh, Bad Dudes. I like Bad Dudes. I like at the end of every level where he goes, "I'm bad." I beat this recently for the first time. In the arcade, I never beat it. I have a lot more games I need to beat that I never beat as a kid. There's a million of them in here. I never beat Battletoads in the arcade or NES. Alright. Well, I guess that's it for now. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.